Ladies and gents, how you doing? Full disclosure, this is going to be the nerdiest video that I've ever made. In fact, I should have not put my camera on and just adopted a persona of a morbidly obese, mouth-breathing neckbeard with truly appalling personal hygiene and plums the size of coconuts because his own mother is more likely to touch his genitals than another woman. Alright, but long-term viewers will know, long before all of these Johnny-come-latelys started playing 40k, the Bootneck was into it as a boy, and I even attended tournaments at Warhammer World, probably 15 years ago at this point was the last time I went, but I used to go and play there, and I worked for Games Workshop. Anyway, so this video, if you're coming for, you know, the usual fare that you like, sort of comical, mildly xenophobic, political commentary, this isn't the video for you. But if you are interested in my hobby, I'm going to briefly talk about the secret level episode and They Shall Know No Fear, because it was absolutely hoofing. 10 out of 10, some of the best telly I've ever seen in my life. I genuinely did get a little bit of blood in it. Nowhere near Chapter Master Valrak. There's another guy who I watch, who I just watched his breakdown of it, and he genuinely did look like he was going to cream his kegs at several points in the video. However, it's amazing. Well, I'll show you 5 seconds of it, so I don't get a copyright strike, but if you're on the fence, you can just, well, have a look at this. How good was that? How good was that? It was hoofing. Absolutely mint. Everything you should expect from a project that fella that did the Space Marine cinematics from a few years ago. It was fantastic. Ultra violent. The Marines felt heavy and clunky, but alarmingly fast at the same time. It was great. However, I'm here to put my nerdy hat on and punch some holes in the argument of one of my long-term YouTube heroes, Carl Benjamin, because I watched his video talking about the episode, and my message to Carl is he needs to read some of the fluff. He needs to get his head around some of those. Well, there's over 100 books now. I think there's about 90 Horus Heresy books on their own. I've probably read about 40 different Warhammer 40k books. Read all of the Eisenhorn and Ravena ones decades ago at this point. The fluff's fantastic. It's always has been what's made 40k as good as it is. And Warhammer 2, both games have superb narratives, and that's what makes them entertaining. The fluff is as compelling to me as the game ever was. But he really hasn't grasped it, because he said this, and I want to make the point like a proper comic book guy. And I don't think I've done anything like this until I actually got a letter published in a comic when I was about 18 and I was mega into comics. And I sent a letter in to settle an argument in a UK-based comic book debate about who'd win in a fight between Spider-Man and Wolverine. And being naturally argumentative, I also thought that was something worth wading into. And, well, suffice it to say I won that one as well. Obviously, Spider-Man. But this is me having a pop with Carl, because he really doesn't know what he's talking about here. Let's have a listen.
The Space Marines, of course, utterly destroy the Chaos Cultists, which, to be fair, in a tabletop game of 40k, they absolutely would do. Although I have to say, I am a bit concerned about the Space Marines becoming a kind of a caricature of their own legend. They are still human beings in armor that are bound by the laws of physics. For example, this guy, he just crushes his head and then just drops him while like swinging him around as if he weighs nothing, which actually isn't really just... I mean, Space Marines are powerful, but they're not that much more powerful. Like in the game, they've got strength of 4 compared to the cultists having strength of 3. Someone 25% stronger than me can't just pop my head like a grape.
Right, so basically he's wrong, and I'll tell you why, Carl. It's because he's obviously a casual gamer, and he's just applying the rules from the game to the nerd fiction. But the actual fact of the matter is, the game is made in a certain way so that the game is playable, so that the game's competitive, because it has to be. Making it competitive has probably been the biggest challenge ever since I started playing. Like, I think that was 2nd edition, all the way through to 5th, what I played regularly. You can't really balance the game. It's almost impossible, but they try as much as they can so that it's entertaining and nobody steamrolls over anybody else. But that's got nothing to do with the canon. Because in the canon, he's completely wrong to say they are humans in armour. The Space Marines are nothing like humans. They were human once when they were aspirants, but they go through so many surgical procedures and changes and when they have the gene scene administered, and they even have extra organs added, to the point where a Space Marine is as different from a human being as something like an orc is. They have 2 hearts, a solid fused rib cage, and various glands. They can spit acid, eat people's brains and absorb their memories, survive the vacuum of space, and various other things that make them not really human at all. And that was way before the Primaris Marines became a thing, when they got yet another upgrade. And the point I'd make there is, anyone who knows anything about physical training knows just how strong and fast and fit, certainly very fit elite soldiers, of which I used to be one, know that when you really put your mind to it as a human being, you can really be quite exceptional. If you were to just take the fastest 1% of human beings on the planet, they can run the 100 metres. Usain Bolt can do it in what, 10 seconds, slightly faster? I think the world record's under 10, isn't it? So if you take the top 1% of fast humans, they can run 100 metres in about 11 seconds, right? And if you're talking about strength, a man can crush your head like a grape. If you take the top 1%, strongest men in the world, look at the blokes on the world's strongest man competition. Terrifying giants who throw fridges over walls and pull trains with their teeth and stuff. There's blokes out there that can bench press 3 times Carl's body weight. So if a normal, unaugmented human with only 1 heart and a rib cage that isn't fused solid and a dozen organs that don't really exist and can't eat people's brains and spit acid, if a normal human can crush someone's skull, a Space Marine can crush someone's skull with ease. A Space Marine could beat 10 men to death with his penis, although I think they've been castrated or something as well. Basically, they aren't people. They're nothing like people. And I think that scene of them going through dozens of Chaos Cultists was pitch perfect. It was absolutely spot on, and I don't think anybody should be discouraging the makers of the show from doing that, because it was brilliant. It was exactly what you want to see when you're a fan of the canon. They're also wearing power armor, which greatly augments their speed and strength. So yes, a Space Marine is nothing like a regular human. If the Mountain from Game of Thrones could crush your head, I'm pretty certain that a terrifying 11-foot giant could, throw Mini Coopers around as if they didn't weigh anything and probably run the 100 metres in about 4 seconds. So, to me, makes perfect sense. Carl, you need to read the fluff, son. Sit down and start with a few good books. If you want to read about how badass the Space Marines can be, I suggest starting with Brothers of the Snake by Dan Abnett. If you want to read about overpowered Space Marines, that book is full of them. But that TV show, I think that was pitch perfect for Space Marines wading through unarmoured humans. But that's just what I think. That was probably the nerdiest video you'll see me make all year. But I'm sorry, like the comic book guy, I just can't let people be wrong about fictional universes. I mean, what type of man would I be if I let that slide? Well, probably the same kind of man I always am. A needlessly argumentative, chewy prick. But that's me for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm assuming most of my audience didn't and never bothered watching. But there you go. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you think of the episode in the comments. I genuinely thought it was fantastic. And I'd love people to give them some feedback, thumbs up their video, and, really encourage Bezos to stop making pointless, woke shite that nobody wants to watch and getting back to doing the business for the fans. Because we all know what we like. We like seeing big, violent men rip people's heads off. Right, that's what we want from the Space Marine series. We don't want real-world politics or morbidly obese, howling purple-haired custodies, lesbians. Just see that what you did there, do more of that. And we'll keep watching. It's not hard, is it? Never has been, but they make it so. All right, that'll have to do, I'm off. Thanks for checking it out. If you like 40k and you haven't seen that episode, it's episode 5 of the series Secret Level. Go and watch it. It's bang on. Okay? Thanks for watching. Toodle pip. Cheers.